Hi, everyone. It's nice to see you again. For those of you that I saw at 6 p.m., those of you that I didn't see at 6 p.m., my name is Susanna Lowy, and amongst other things, I am the program director at Project 440. So I say amongst other things, because if somebody, say at a party, which we don't go to these days, but if I were meeting somebody new and they said, of course, in America, our next question is, what do you do? And I would say I'm a flutist. And so in pre-pandemic times, what that means is that I play with a variety of groups in the DC area, and I play with a very new music group in the Lancaster area. I sub with a lot of the Philadelphia ensembles, and I'm the flute professor at Rowan University, and I do lots of other freelance work based and leadership and entrepreneurship based for Project 440. With Project 440, by program director, I create and implement and help to implement the programming. I always want to give credit to everybody on the team because it is certainly, we do everything together. So I helped to create the curriculum and figure out how to get our curriculum off the ground. I also do a fair amount of the teaching for one of our programs called Doing Good, which is our leadership and entrepreneurship program. I helped to create the run of events for you here today at the college fair. So I just wanted to start out by going through all of the awesome sessions that we have planned over the next 48 plus hours. I guess it's 49 hours from right now is when we'll be wrapping up. So let's kind of go through each of the different sessions, and then I want to make sure that everybody understands the Whoba platform. So we have Colleen from Witty Gritty here who will share her screen and walk you through how to make sure that you're understanding and navigating the platform to the best of your ability, or to the best of any ability, really. We started out with a welcome to Project 440 at 6 p.m. tonight, and now we're here at the College Fair orientation. At 8 p.m., we have intermission sessions leading a mindfulness and movement for musicians workshop. And so it'll be interactive. They'll make sure that everybody's positioned the way they need to be, and you'll do a lot of breath work and discussion and movement about how to make sure that you are aligned for holistic, healthy, and joyful practice. Tomorrow morning, bright and early, 10 a.m. Eastern time, we have essay and resume writing with our fantastic Sam Apgar from the Temple University's Master of Public Policy program. She's one of the best writers I know, and she will make sure that you are on track to write an awesome essay and understand what you need to do for your resume before you go off to school. We right now deal a lot more with computer and Zoom mediums and a lot more recording than we're perhaps used to. So at 11 a.m. tomorrow, we have a session from James Clark Connor from Weston Sound, one of Philadelphia's premier recording companies, who will talk to you about how to record yourself on your own equipment. So how to make sure that you're getting a good sound, you have everything placed in the right place, and that you're just getting the best result from the equipment you have, so that you have a good recording to be able to send to colleges or to summer programs or whatever you need to represent yourself. We also do a lot of social media these days. So we have two social media stars, Drew Ford, who's That Viola Kid on Instagram, and Classically Black's podcast creator, Delaney Harris. And they're gonna discuss different social media platforms and how to use them effectively. Then the big event tomorrow from 1 to 5 p.m., we have the college fair time. Now, throughout from now all the way through Thursday night, you can look at the different exhibitor booths and visit the schools, all the links that they've put up, all the materials that they've left for you. But from 1 to 5 p.m. tomorrow, there will be people from their music departments live and ready to talk to you. So one of the ways that we're different from all of the other college or from many other college fairs is that this is specifically for musicians. So you will have representatives from the music departments that want to talk to prospective music students, whether or not you want to major in music. So a lot of schools have scholarships and opportunities available for students who don't necessarily want to major in music, but who just want to continue music to some extent in their college career. So there'll be schools ready to talk to you about that. And then, of course, if you do want to major in music, schools are always up for talking about all of their different programs and opportunities. Now, of course, money, 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 right? And so we have our incredible college counselor, Sigis Vanny, coming at 5 p.m. tomorrow to talk to you about financial aid for musicians. So how to make sure that you're applying in the right places, that you understand the difference between all the different types of scholarships and grants and all the different types of financial aid available to you as a musician, as somebody who wants to continue music throughout college. Weston Sprott from the Metropolitan Opera and the Juilliard School of Music last year led one of our most popular sessions on auditioning. So it was a no-brainer to bring him back this year. So tomorrow at 6 p.m., he has a fantastic presentation ready to talk to you about how to set up a successful college audition experience. So working up to the audition time, how to make sure you're ready, prepared mentally, prepared musically, and how to set yourself up for success for your college auditions. Another important aspect of auditioning is audition psychology. Audition psychologist and Juilliard faculty, Noah Kageyama, will help you figure out what exactly you need to do to get your brain helping you. I always have I have a little short story to tell about this. I was once taking an audition. I've taken many auditions, but during one audition I was playing Mozart and it wasn't going the way I thought it should. And in my head I was thinking, really, Loie, you've been playing the flute for 20 plus years and this is the best you can do? And then afterwards I thought, Mozart's supposed to be like happy and proud and noble. And how did I possibly think that I was going to have those attributes come through the music when inside I'm thinking all these negative thoughts towards myself? So that was when I actually looked up more about audition psychology, and I took a fair number of sessions with Noah, and he helped me so much. The first audition after I took some lessons with him, I made it to the finals. So Noah's incredible, and he'll have an awesome session for you tomorrow at 7 p.m. His website, The Bulletproof Musician, is a great place to start if you just want to kind of get a heads up. Now, at 8 p.m. tomorrow, we have a special session led by students who have recently graduated from high school. They're between freshmen and seniors in college. So they're all throughout the country and all through the different years of their college experience. And they are ready to talk to you about the things that they wish they knew when they were your age. So come ready with questions. They're coming ready with advice, but they definitely want to hear your questions as well. They're an amazing group of students, and you'll learn a lot from them. Then on to the last day of the college fair. At 1 p.m., we have a session on historically Black colleges and universities. And so Dr. David Morrow from Atlanta, Georgia's Morehouse University will give a brief history about HBCUs and then also talk about their value in the 21st century. So really an important session to attend at 1 p.m. on Thursday. As I've mentioned a few times, we are acknowledging that we are in unprecedented times right now. This college fair is virtual when it's normally in person. So we want to talk about that, talk about the differences now, what to expect, how to navigate it. The Manhattan School of Music's Joan Gordon and Alexa Smith will talk to you about college auditions within the scope, the context of being in a pandemic. Certainly for this year's auditions, and just understanding what that means for the foreseeable future. Although, of course, the vaccine news over the past couple of days is exciting, and we're all hoping that that stays its course. At 3 p.m. on Thursday, I will be leading a session on leadership and entrepreneurship for musicians. Music in our world can make such a huge difference. We can frame what we want to, how we want to influence our communities, and how we want our musical careers to shape our communities. So I will be talking to you at 3 p.m. about how to figure that out for yourself, because that means something different to each and every person. At 4 p.m., Sigus, the college fairy Vanny, will be leading an Ask Me Anything. So this is another session where we hope you come with your questions. And if you have questions that you think of throughout the fair, feel free to put them on the community board, so that Sigus can kind of think in advance about what you might be wondering about. Although I have to say, he doesn't even need advance notice. He's that good. And as I mentioned at 6 p.m., he is indeed a Jeopardy champion, so you will not be able to stump him. At 5 p.m. on Thursday, we have a session on career paths in music. So this is led by the incomparable Mary Javian at the Curtis Institute of Music, and she will discuss different types of careers you can have after school, and will also explain some of the relevance of the different video examples on the community board. And those videos on the community board that you may have watched some of already were submitted from professionals across the music industry across the country. So it's definitely worth your time to check them out. And this session at 5 p.m. will be a fantastic way to broach the ideas behind what you can do within your music career. Maybe you want to be a performer, maybe you want to be an educator, maybe you want to be both, maybe you want to be neither. Being a musician can mean so many different things right now. And so this will be a fantastic 50 minutes to be able to explore what that means. At 6 p.m. on Thursday, we have our keynote speaker, Michael O'Brien, who just every time I hear him speak, I feel newly inspired and invigorated to be the best version of myself I could possibly be. So Michael will have incredible words of wisdom and will leave you feeling like a new person, I promise. And then at 7 p.m., we have our final closing raffle. You'll see Joe and I here. Our raffle is eligible for anybody who has 20 interactions on the passport contest. And Colleen will tell you a little bit more about what exactly that is and how to get the interaction credits. And then the raffle, we have gift cards to Amazon and Starbucks for $50. And so 2 of each. And so we would love as many of you as possible, all of you, to be eligible for the raffle. This is a lot of stuff going on, and our community board, make sure you're checking out our community board, get to know the people who are here at this fair for the next 48 and a half hours. They are just as valuable of resources as everything else is going on. So spend some time with the community board. All of the sessions are recorded. So if there's something that you can't attend because you have school or you have something else, you will be able to watch it after the fact. That being said, live is definitely better because then you can interact. So we would love to see you live or live on Zoom. We'd love to see you synchronously as much as possible. This is so much going on. 1 to 5 p.m. is a long time to be visiting schools, and I hope you have your list of schools ready that you want to be visiting by the time it gets to be 1 p.m. tomorrow. But if you don't get to talk to all the schools that you had wanted to talk to, we are sending you directly at 8 p.m. on Thursday night over to another college fair called a Music Admissions Roundtable. So it's not from Project 440, but we just want to share the love and say that that is another fair available to you, and any schools that you still want to see, that you want to talk to more, you should check out that next fair at 8 p.m. on Thursday night. I have a whole bunch of other tips and advice for you, but just to kind of break up the monotony, I'd like to pass it over to Colleen, who will talk a little bit about the Whova platform, what to expect, how to navigate it, and we'll go from there.
Great, thanks Susanna, and hi friends and welcome. I am Colleen Walsh and I work with an amazing group and team, the Witty Gritty team. We were brought on and have been working with Project 440 for a couple months now and handling the logistical side of things and the project management side of things. And so the team, you will see us behind the scenes. So if you see names like Michelle Freeman, Allie Adams, Sydney Bromfield, Alex Freeman, that is who we are. We are here supporting. And so as I'm talking about Whova during this time, definitely put some questions in the chat. Susanna and I will gladly answer them. So let's get into this because she just shared some really super rad sessions that are going to be coming up these next couple days. And so we want to make sure that you guys feel comfortable to participate in them. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you guys the desktop version of Whova. And then after that, I'll talk through the mobile app. And so let me come over here real fast. Okay, so what we have here is the desktop version of Whova. And some of you will discover that this is going to be more user-friendly for you. Others are going to figure out that the mobile app is going to work best for you. And regardless, at the end of the day, you use whatever works best for you, but your experience will be very similar. And so what I wanted to point out when it comes to the desktop version here, you will see over here on the left-hand side, this is basically your toolbar. This is going to be where you're going to start off at anytime you're looking for a particular thing. And so what I wanted to point out here is a couple things. One, I wanted to point out agenda. Agenda is going to be the sessions that Susanna was just talking about. So you can see here on the top, our days are listed. And as you go through, you'll see the titles and the times. And as a reminder, everything is based off of Eastern Standard Time. So you just want to keep that in mind as you're planning what sessions you want to go to. And when it's time for you to join a session, you'll do what you did here today. Many of you will click on the link. This box here will not have this information. It will have a little play button there. You'll click on that and you'll be all set to go. The next thing I wanted to mention was the community boards. And Susanna had mentioned, like, get in there, ask your questions. And I'm really excited that a lot of you have taken the opportunity to already go on there and get familiar with it and ask some questions and just introduce yourself. So what's really, they're all really important, but the one that I wanted to point out specifically is ask the organizer anything. So at any point during these next couple of days, you're running into something that you just can't seem to figure out, no matter what it is, if it's Whova related or not. You know, you can see here that somebody had asked us a question the other day about if these sessions are going to be recorded. Drop your questions and your concerns in here. The team will be monitoring this and responding as quickly as we can and providing you whatever information you need. So again, anytime you kind of have a moment, you want to look for this board that says ask the organizer, and we'll get back to you. And what I would like to also point out is that when it is time for the live college fair tomorrow, 1 to 5 o'clock, you'll go to the exhibitors. So you will see on here, schools are not referred to like colleges or universities or anything like that. Whova just has them referred to as exhibitors. That's just the standard that they have. So if you happen to see that word in this scenario, that's where you're going to be looking for the schools and the universities. And so this is when you'll come over here and you'll be able to scroll through the 50+ schools that are going to have representatives, and you'll be able to click accordingly. And so I will just use this as an example for the time being that right over here on the right-hand side for the desktop version is where when it's 1 o'clock and you want to have that live interaction with somebody, you will come over here and click the view live stream link. And so that just switches you back and we won't be able to interact live with this person yet, but it will be a similar screen just like this. You would hit join and you would be able to interact with that individual. So I wanted to make sure that you guys saw that and are familiar with that. So that is the desktop version. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And I now wanted to walk through the mobile. I personally, I was just having this conversation with my colleagues. I'm a big fan of the app on the phone, and she was a bigger fan of the desktop version. So it really is whatever works best for you. But what I wanted to point out, what you just saw on the screen on the left side was your main navigation, like your main toolbar, and what it will be on your phone is. As you scroll down, you're going to see a couple things. Then you're going to see additional resources, which will have the similar options that we just saw on the left-hand side of your screen. And then on the very bottom of the app, there are some icons that are just, those are your permanent icons. And so what I wanted to point out to you is the permanent icons on the very bottom, the agenda is listed. So that is where you would go and see the sessions. You would click on that. You would see the description. You would click on view the live stream and be able to interact, just similar to how some of you are probably interacting with us right now. And then I also want to point out that they also have it in the app that it says exhibitor. And as a reminder, an exhibitor in this case is going to be the colleges, the schools, the universities, the music conservatories, and things, those individuals that are joining us. So that is going to be your toolbar. So if you are planning on using the app a lot, those are going to be the big things that you're going to want to be able to find. And so the keywords are going to be agenda for your sessions and then exhibitors for the college fair. And what I would like to also point out that's on the app, you just heard Susanna talk about a fun little competition. And so it's called Passport. And so in order to participate, you will need to have the mobile app. So if you're currently thinking like, I don't want to use the mobile app, please download it because we want you to be able to participate in this Passport competition. And what that looks like is when you are on the mobile app, as you scroll down to additional resources, you will see the word Passport, and it has all of the schools listed. And in order to get a stamp or like a check mark for participating, you want to make sure that you are you're engaging. And so what that looks like is the Whova platform and the app are able to track all your different interactions that you're having. So when you're liking or you're commenting, or for some schools, they're going to have something called like, it's called like a claim a deal, where you can like participate in some of the things that they have. Those are all the different ways how you can like rack up these stamps or these points. And so to Zuzana's point, you want to make sure that you collect a minimum of 20 so you are entered to win the gift cards that are available. And then lastly, I just want to point out that the community boards are really going to be a great way for you guys to interact. So those of you that are, super active on Facebook, a way you can look at that as being like a Facebook wall and communicating on the different categories that they have. And those of you that are super active on like Instagram, you be like commenting on a different post that you wanted to comment on. So you want to make sure that you are looking at those throughout the day, and that you go back and refer to that. And you want to make sure that if you run into anything, again, you really want to go to that Ask the Organizer. That is going to be really, really helpful for you. And so at any point when you guys have any questions, you let us know. But that was really like a high level explanation of Whova. The end of the day, go in there, click away. If you're a little uncomfortable, maybe a little nervous, you can't break it. You can't ruin it. You can't do anything. So get familiar, click away this evening and tomorrow. And if you happen to have a specific question, you want to make sure that you shoot that over to us on the community board. So I'm going to bring back our dear friend, Susanna, and we're going to continue to get you guys situated and acclimated. And so Susanna, I heard you point out a couple sessions that all sessions are important to go to, but a couple of them you had specifically mentioned was Ask Sig Anything. And so I wanted to stress that because we'll be able to kind of go over some stuff and give some tips and tricks tonight. but he'll definitely be somebody that will be able to really help you out. And for those of you that might have missed it, he had done a Facebook Live and an Instagram Live about a week or 2 weeks ago. And so we can definitely share the link with you to check out the Facebook event that he did. And I think that will also get you guys some more information to be prepared for these next couple days. So Susanna, one of the questions that I was wondering, this is totally a different situation than probably what most of these students were thinking they were going to be doing as juniors and seniors, and even maybe watching their peers and family members. I'm sure a lot of like the tips and tricks in the sense of like time management and being organized and like having your list of questions available are still there. But have you discovered over these couple months like something that's just a little bit different because of the pandemic and because people are going to be home and potentially going and doing school visits and things like that? Like, are there any unique tips or tricks or maybe some hard lessons learned from like your students that have shared with you that you would want to pass along to our students and their families today? Oh, hold on one moment.
No, that's my fault. Sorry. Okay. So, yeah, absolutely. One of the things to remember is that, we've all gotten so used to being on Zoom, and these kind of video interactions are no longer fancy or special. Just remember that when you are in an audition situation, if it's synchronous, if it's live on Zoom, then you want to make sure that your background and what you're dressed in, for as much as is visible on the camera, that's appropriate. I've definitely seen parts of students' rooms that I did not need to see. And I'm totally fine with it. But if you are in an audition situation, you want it to feel and look like an audition. And so just conducting yourself as professionally as you would if you were actually visiting the school. Have your speaking points, things that you wanted to ask the teachers that you would be asking live, have those ready. Test the audio, test the video. I know this is all like basic stuff, but spend the time with somebody else in a different house to make sure that everything, like the microphone is set in a place that works for your instrument and for your voice. You might have to take a few steps forward for your voice and then take a few steps back for your instrument. All these things, making sure that that's ideal. And it's really the same if you're submitting recordings, video recordings. You're gonna want to make sure all of those bases are covered. So, we don't know exactly how long we're going to be in this type of virtual situation, but just moving forward as though it's going to be the solution for now. Wrapping your head around what that means for the next year, having plan Bs that you're okay with, because, life is in flux for everyone, and you just want to set yourself up or give yourself the time to breathe to be successful as you transition into college or the end of your high school careers. So that being said, one thing about internet connections, if you have an important Zoom session or just an important thing that you need to do on the internet, ask everybody else in your house to be on a media blackout. It makes a huge difference in the speed of your connection to not have your sister be streaming or to not have anybody else even listening to Spotify. It starts to slow and lag things down. And as a teacher, it's so hard to understand what's going on the other side if the connection is bad. And I know how hard it is to regulate things that feel out of control. So my suggestion is to control the things that you can control. Ask the people in your house not to use the internet during the times that you really need it. Like I said, test all of your equipment to make sure that it's placed in the right place. That being said, for the next 40 plus hours, use the time wisely. Everybody who's leading sessions wants to hear your questions. They want to interact with you. Ask as many questions as you possibly can. Get to know the workshop leaders, get to know the other people in the sessions. For the actual college fair portion, when the schools are going to be there live to talk to you, I would have a plan for it. Know which schools you definitely want to get in touch with, and know which schools would be next on the list. And figure out how much time you have for each school, so that that time period is used to the best capability. I know that we all do everything on the computer these days, but I would also have a pen and paper ready just so you can jot things down, ideas that you may have, questions that may come up that may mysteriously disappear from your head when you have the opportunity to ask. And then also a lot of these sessions, hopefully all of these sessions, are going to be interactive. So you're going to want to be able to brainstorm and then share your thoughts. So this is, a little bit of an endurance event. It's a lot, and we don't want you to miss any of it. So have some water and snacks nearby. Everybody has been instructed to stay on schedule, so everybody will make sure that things end at 50 minutes after each hour so that you have that 10-minute break. The 10 minutes between each hour is not that much time. So make sure that you're prepared with everything for the next couple days. Yeah, I think that's, definitely keep in touch throughout the fair and afterwards. We're always happy to hear from you. Look through these sessions that I talked about, figure out which ones you definitely want to go to, which ones maybe you need a break and you'll check out after the fair, but attend all of them if you can. Anything else, Colleen, and any other questions that you might want to throw at me?
Yeah, so I heard you talk about what the students should have prepared, that they should really like have their thoughts written out and their questions there, and really have a game plan of like the schools that they want to visit. But you can't do this without your support. And so we know that a lot of these students have family and friends and relatives that are supporting them. And for some of these adults in their life, this could be the very first time that they have a teenager that is going through this process. And so they might be a little lost, or maybe even, this student, the fact that they're interested in maybe a degree that's just something that they're not familiar with. Like what are some important things that these adults in these students' life can support them these next couple of days? And like what might be some tips or tricks or tools that they should keep in their back pocket where they can really allow their student to shine without like micromanaging the process and really making it an enjoyable experience for them. So what kind of tips would you give to the adults that are supporting these students these next couple of days?
To attend as many sessions as you can also, so that you can fully understand and just wrap your head around what it means to be a musician in the 21st century. So all of these sessions are led by musicians, and you see the massive range and scope of all the sessions that are offered. And so these are all people that would call themselves musicians. And so that means so many different things. So don't be scared that your child wants to be a musician or wants to keep playing forever. That's a good thing. And it means that there are so many opportunities, more opportunities than ever before, because the musical world is just exploding out of necessity. So we're figuring it out as we go, all the different things that we can do community-based, and how to define those communities and what we can do as a musician to influence the world the way we want it to be influenced. So yeah, I would just suggest to any of the parents attending or anybody just supporting their child to just stay open-minded. You might have one idea of what it means to be a musician, but maybe by the end of the next 2 days, you have a completely different idea in mind of what that means for you and for your child.
I love that. And a thought that I just had is, especially for somebody where this could really be their first time or just really going through this process as a parent or a guardian. So if you are watching and you're feeling a little nervous and a little uncomfortable with this, the community board is going to be a great resource for you. This is going to be an opportunity where you can interact with other adults that are going through similar situation or have gone through this and can be able to continue to share some additional information and resources. So parents and guardians and the adults out there that are supporting these students, this is a really great opportunity for you as well. And so definitely take advantage of going to those sessions, like Susanna said, but network and meet some other supporters of these students out there that might be able to guide you through that process. Another question that that popped up, and actually before I asked that, I just saw that our friend Gail asked on the chat, how do we talk to the schools tomorrow during the college fair session? So Gail, I'm really glad that you asked that in case anybody joined a little bit later. As a reminder, all of the times are based off of Eastern Standard Time. So starting at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time till 5 tomorrow is when you'll be able to interact with those schools. And so you will be able to do that by clicking on the word that says exhibitor. So if you, Gail, are currently on your desktop version, that is on the left-hand side of your screen. And if you're using the mobile, that is going to be on the bottom of the app. And so what you will do is you will click on the word exhibitor. It will give you the list of all of the schools that are participating. You will click on that school, and then from there, you will see all the information that they've already uploaded to their virtual booth. And then you will see a link that allows for you to view the live stream. And just like how you guys are watching it now, you'll click on that link and you'll be able to interact lively with the schools. And I see another question that popped up that says, will all the schools be available from 1 to 5 p.m.? Yes, they have all been instructed that the college fair will be happening 1 to 5 o'clock. And so as you guys probably saw, the agenda does not have like any other sessions during that time. So that is your window to go and interact with those schools. So I really appreciate you guys asking those questions, and feel free to continue to drop them in there over the next couple moments. So Susanna, a question that I wanted to share with you is, these students are going to be interacting with these schools. And so what would be like an appropriate amount of time to have like some FaceTime? Like I recall having my top dream schools, and I would love to have as much FaceTime with them as possible. But what would you recommend to be like a reasonable time to interact, to make a good impression, but also allow like other students to be able to have their proper FaceTime? So could you give just some info on like what would be the best way for these students to get themselves prepared for this live interaction with these schools tomorrow?
So I would say to have the questions ready. So if you when you want to speak to a school in person, it's because you've done some sort of research on the school already. You know as much as you can know about the school by looking at its website, by maybe you've already been in touch with the teacher, maybe not, but you know what they have to offer and why you're interested. And then from there, what are the questions you have? What would make it so you would want to attend that school? And so maybe this has to do with financial aid. Maybe it has to do with the programs that are offered. Maybe it has to do with what ensembles they have. Maybe it has to do with their pandemic plan. But keep in mind with that last one that can change at the drop of the hat. So just be aware. But any questions that would determine whether or not you want to apply to that school, have those questions ready. And those questions will not be the same for every school. So whoever you are planning to talk to, you probably have slightly different questions, based on what school it is. Maybe if it's a school in the middle of nowhere, you want to ask like, what do students do? Or maybe if it's a school in New York City, you want to ask like, where do the students live? How do they afford housing? Stuff like that. So just being, appropriate and relevant with your questions. Now, I haven't answered your question, Colleen. You said how much time? And so that's a hard one because, I don't know how many questions each student has, but yes, be aware of the other people that are in the room that might want to also ask questions. And of course, they might have some of the same questions as you. So if, everybody can have space to, listen and ask the questions they need. If it is a one-on-one type situation, I would say, just keeping things appropriate. Maybe I'd say a 10-minute tops would feel good, but I just really pulled that out of nowhere. So, if a conversation is happening, you don't have to feel like, oh my God, it's 9.5 minutes, I have to get off. But just again, just being aware of what else is going on in the room. Yeah, that would be my advice for that.
Perfect. And to piggyback off of what you just said too, friends, there's a chat feature for all of the schools. I'm referring to them as booths. So when you click on the school's booth or on their links, you're going to see the chat feature. And so a lot of schools have multiple people that will be manning these virtual booths, and some of them will be overseeing the chat feature. So if you have a question that maybe you don't feel like you need to hop in and have a face-to-face, that is another tool that you guys can use. And it could potentially be really helpful because I'm sure most of you are probably going to have pretty similar questions when it comes to certain things. So I also encourage you guys to go through the chat to just kind of see maybe some of the answers that have been given. You might think of some proper follow-up questions based off of the information that they have given prior to another question. Well, I think we're in a really great place, and I'm really excited for you guys, and the Witty Gritty team really appreciates Project 440 bringing us on. But Susanna, I'll kick it back to you to close this out and share any other last minute things.
So I just wanted to mention that this is not the end of tonight, as I'm sure you all know. But we at 8 o'clock, so you have time to click around, look at some of the other booths, the exhibitors. But at 8 p.m., head on over to intermission sessions and have a nice, relaxing session with Melissa White, who co-founded the Intermission Sessions, which is just a fantastic nonprofit that is helping musicians across the world become more in tune with their physical body. So enjoy at 8 p.m. Enjoy the Whova app and the interaction of the college fair for the next 20 minutes before the intermission sessions. And have a great next 2 days, and I will see you around.